Hello, everyone. I'm not a Berklee alum, but my name is Wendy Harriet. I'm the Assistant Director of Finance and Project Management. I work very closely in helping Dr. B make wonderful things happen for all of you. Welcome, and I look forward to seeing you all over the summer. And if you stop by, bring some candy, okay?
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. B. Congratulations. I know you'll make the most of this experience, and we look forward to being with you.
All right, folks. So, just to give you some context, this is our weekly Tuesday meeting we do every year. Those of you in 5 week know what this is and kind of the way we do things. But for those that don't, every week this is our time to come together as a community to kind of talk, and for us as administrators to share something with you, hopefully that can enlighten you. This week we're going to feature two artists that are Boston sort of staples and artists in their own right. So I'm going to have them sort of walk on up as I continue talking. But so we're going to welcome Lisa and Louis Bello to the stage. It's funny because I was talking to both Lisa and Louis earlier. I feel like I've known them both through so many people at Berklee, through so many connections, and I'm going to let them do more and explain about what they do. But they're both very talented musicians, very talented artists. They are, I'm just going to run down a couple of their accolades here and embarrass them a little bit. They both are winners of the Boston Music Awards, recipients of Boston Music Awards. They both have ASCAP and BMI, I'm assuming, awards as well. Mrs. Lisa Bello is the recipient of the Humanitarian Award from the LGBTQ community as well, so a round of applause for that. And how many of you watch the Kardashians and all these types of crazy TV shows that come on? Well, if you have, you've definitely heard some of their music because they've got writing credits on several TV shows, including Law and Order as well. Yeah. SVU too as well? SVU? Okay, all right, okay. So I'm going to close my big mouth now, and we're going to turn it over to them. And just to keep in mind what this context is, right? Every week when we bring someone here, we're really hoping, and we've chosen people to share things with you that you can relate to. So they're going to share some of their music, they're going to talk a little bit, but we expect you to kind of give back some of that energy too, because what you're looking at is a lot of game up here, a lot of years in the business, and a lot of people that have been to the places that you may be aspiring to get to as well yourselves. So don't waste this time that you have with them to ask good questions, if you have them, and or to catch them afterwards. But without further ado, Lisa and Louis Bello.
Thank you, Louis. That was the best intro ever. So you guys having fun? First day, right? A little bit of energy. Somebody said Boston. How many Boston people are there? It's our hometown. We grew up in Hyde Park. Anybody ever heard of Hyde Park? Right.
And I taught at Boston Public Schools at the Timothy Middle School in Roxbury for like 8 years.
And I taught at the Sumner for a long time. That's former student, louder. So I figured we start off with, I'm going to play a song for you guys that I haven't released yet. And I wrote it with this guy, Andres, former Berklee student right here. Amazing guitar player. I've had the luxury of touring around the world with this guy. I did our first European tour last year. Toured all down south, west coast, and I've had the luxury of having this guy next to me. So it was really cool. The Berklee connection, to bring him here and play for you guys. She was born in the 80s, her daddy's favorite, and destined for greatness. She gonna learn how to fly, but somewhere it changes. She starts losing her way, and she falls and she fades. Now she learns how to cry, and she's seen better days. And that's what she tells me, but those better days are deep down inside. She's too hard on herself. She takes it for granted. She got so much more to give. Deep down inside, come try looking through my eyes, girl. You might see right through your own disguise. Maybe someday you will realize that you're better than perfect. You're much more than worth it. You're worth it to me. You're worth it to me, baby. See, it's hard to make changes. You're stuck in your ways. About facing the danger that's deep down inside. You do more for your neighbors, and they're total strangers. It's okay to take care of yourself. It's okay to cry, 'cause you've seen better days. That's what you tell me, but those better days are deep down inside. You're too hard on yourself. You take it for granted. You got so much more to give. Deep down inside, come try looking through my eyes, girl. You might see right through your own disguise. Maybe someday you will realize that you're better than perfect. You're much more than worth it. You're worth it to me. Thank you. Thinking about releasing that this September. So, how many people on Instagram? Well, there's some people not on Instagram. Okay. They usually get everybody's hand. So if you're on Instagram, it's Louis Bello, LOUIEBELLO. And when I release that, I'll send you guys a free copy. Yes, but you gotta send me a message and be like, hey, I was at Berklee today. So we can all become friends. Now I want to introduce my sister, Lisa. Lisa Bello.
Alright, so my brother and I clearly in the same family. He sings country music at the moment, but we both are R&B singers from birth. But country seems to be the road that's taken him
Well, I fell in love with Nashville.
all over the world. Yeah, I know. So I moved to Brooklyn, New York a year and a half ago. I love Boston, but for me, the scene in Brooklyn, New York is where I need to be at for songwriting, for singing, and I also am digging into voiceovers. So basically, I'm trying to do cartoon voices, commercials, and I've been booked so far for like 50 of these gigs. So there's money everywhere. You know, we're independent artists. We're not signed for anyone. I do have a manager, but I've been able to make a living off of this and live good just doing music independently. This song is off of my album called Tommy Boy. I released this last spring. Oh, you know this album? Oh, I appreciate that. I released it in the spring, and then I booked my own tour in the fall, and I did a European tour and an American tour, and again, booked my own, so all of the bread I made came to me, and as it should, and all the bread. And just before I sing this song, a quick gem that I learned way too late in life is when you write a song, when you're creating it musically or you're doing the songwriting, you register it, you trademark it, you learn all about that copyright. But what I just learned recently, I'm an ASCAP member for many years, is I register every set list. So if I'm singing at the bar in the corner and I'm singing 5 of my songs, I register those 5 songs. Because I'm a publisher of my own music, I own all the rights, I get paid after getting my, showing up in the bartender, the owner gives you money, I get paid for playing my own songs every time I play them. So I get random checks from ASCAP for $50 to $1,000, depending on how many shows I played that month. So that's a thing that I wish when I was your age, someone came and told me. They didn't, it's okay, because I'm here now and I'm here to lend that knowledge. But I will say before I sing this song, it's so important to own the rights to your stuff. I'm sure you see on the internet, and in the age of you sing a song in the bathroom and someone steals your song 10 minutes later, it's just happening too fast. So I'm proud of you for not having Instagram. I will say that, in the world of everyone having it. But I do understand the need for social media and the need to protect yourself. So this song is called Make It. It's going to be in a small film small film, what are they called? Short films?
Indie-
Small, little,
indie film.
tiny film.
It's on a
An
tiny
indie
screen.
film that's going into the Sundance Festival. So I took a chance. I did it for no money. I let them use my song, and now I will get money back from it because it got picked up. That was dope, though, right? That's called Ain't It Something. I know. So come on. You love Andres. How we gonna make it if we don't even know what we're here for? And how we gonna make it if every other day leaves my heart so yeah, 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 yeah. Running round, running round, running round slowly. Yes, I'll be taking my mind apart. Trying to figure out why the hell I feel so lonely. While you're standing there across from me, but you're 1,000 miles away. Said, how we gonna make it if we don't even know what we're here for? Said, how we gonna make it if every other day leaves my heart sore? 'Cause I be thinking about everything. If we don't wanna take a stand, how can we make it right? I feel like every other word is thoughts and praise, and I'm sorry. And you don't do anything, I'm quitting, there's a constant rotary. Said, how we gonna make it if we don't even know what we're here for? And how we gonna make it if every other day leaves my heart so yeah, 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 yeah. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Yeah. So that's our Atomic Way album. If you guys have Instagram, you can unfollow my brother and go to my page.
Never. I got a better page. My page is way better.
So Lisa Bello Music is my page.
Andres, what's your page?
Yeah,
I don't have Instagram.
Who's a liar?
we're gonna save you on our page, I
He
guess.
doesn't want you to see it.
I just want to say it's a pleasure to play with the Bello family, the Boston famous Bello family right here. So please give it up for this monster singer.
Yeah, do you guys, does anybody have any questions or thoughts or things you want to say?
Oh, so when you come to Berklee, what make you give me 5 things that no one ever told you that you wish you knew coming here from the beginning?
It's early for him to do 5 things. Maybe Andres would do 3 things.
So she asked,
As a
what's,
freshman
as a freshman,
student.
you 5 things you wish you were told before entering your freshman year. That's a great question.
Well, I can just think about a couple of them right now. I think you don't have to be in a pop ensemble to, for instance, if you're a singer or a gospel singer or R&B singer. You when you come to Berklee, you pay whatever $2,000, but for a credit. You have these ensembles that are 2 credits. You're basically paying $4,000 to play Ariana Grande ensemble. That doesn't make any sense. When you can be getting paid actually in the Boston music scene to be doing these kind of songs and playing with a band, basically. That's the other thing. Like you can actually live in Boston while being a musician and have gigs and perform and start to create your own name as either a musician or a singer, you know, and start branding yourself from don't wait until you graduate, you know, that's something that I would definitely, and just also, yeah, I mean, when you're a student, you're being a student. You don't think about being an adult and paying your bills. But the sooner you start building your own financial life as a musician as well, it's really important because the game out there is really different. When you are a student and when you are actually a professional musician, you have to pretty much hustle a lot. It depends on what you do, right? But like, no matter if you're a mastering engineer anywhere in the world, New York or whatever, you still have to find your clients, you know, you have to go fishing and like offer something that nobody else can offer but you know. So that would be my advice. And don't waste a lot of time in things that don't matter. Just craft your, sorry, perfect your craft. And that's it.
All right.
What was the inspiration for the song? So
For that song, Worth It, you know, you have a lot of people in life that have regrets. And I meet them all the time because I have a lot of people that come up to me. Actually, a lot of people I grew up with in the music business. I've been in the business for like 20 something years. I'm old. So I've got a lot of friends. Thank you very much. I got a lot of friends that, you know, didn't last as long as I have in the business, weren't able to find their ways. And you run into people like that and regrets, and I kind of, it inspired me to say, like, you're worth it, you know, and I kind of translated that into somebody feeling like they're just stuck, you know, and you can see the potential they used to have, and you're just trying to say, like, how can I get that potential back out of you? Because this person has so much inside of them to give, and they just don't feel like they're worth it, so they just kind of go along with you every day when there's something that can come out of them that's really special and they don't know about it, and that's kind of where Worth It came from.
So my song Make It, the verses are very different. The first verse is about a relationship, and the second verse has to do with, so I taught in Roxbury, Boston for 10 years. I was a special ed teacher, 8 years, 10 years. And I saw the savage inequalities of my classroom compared to like a Newton classroom. And the frustration that I would have was constant. The frustration about police brutality was constant. The frustration that I have a biracial child that experiences things different than I do was constant. And in the world we live in of music, sometimes you have to teeter the line with political messages, and sometimes you have to not care. And in that song, I think I did it lighthearted enough, but my big stand on it was like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to go on living if we have no idea where we're here? If we're more concerned with who's liking our picture than who's standing up for our government, you know, with who's out there wearing the best clothes and who's standing up to police that are causing issues. Like, so for me, I do a lot of lighthearted things, but I sneak stuff in there. I'm not afraid to say whatever I feel, and usually that's my inspiration for my music, especially as an independent artist. I have the freedom to put anything on iTunes I want, literally.
Yeah, I have a question about the process to get registered with a company like EMI or ASCAP and how to receive royalties from your music played or recorded.
Yeah, it's
really
so much easier than it used to scare me, right? I registered, I forget what it was probably $25 when I registered, but I just registered my son as a publisher for me, and he's only 5, but I want to set him up. So let's take you through the process. $50, I registered him, I gave him a name, his name is Cassius Bello, so I made it Cassius Bello Music, and every time I register a song, so it's very simple, you literally type in song name, you know, who's composing it, you are giving percentages, which you'll figure out when you do it, but you list the publisher. And so he always gets 50% of my publishing. So if you're publishing for yourself, so again, it could be 25 cents one month, and it could be $12,000. Like what you do, he just said is so important. I played with a lot of I call my little brother Keith and Foster. I don't know if anyone knows him, but come on, right? Plays with her, plays with Tiana Taylor, plays with everybody and their mama, right? Plays with you in church. Like, come on. Keithan was here in school when we gave him this first gig. He'll say this forever. It was like Hard Rock Cafe. I gave him his first gig. And what he said about working while you're in school. On that gig, if he had a song and he wanted me to play it, he could register it. He was 18 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't, that age doesn't matter, but putting work in. I would suggest you don't have to register today, but if you got time the next week, look at ASCAP, look at BMI. People have, he's BMI, I'm ASCAP. I find it easier to navigate. He's just been with them forever. The point is, there's so much education out there, and I understand as a teacher that, especially the last few years of my teaching, kids got really bored. You don't want to be talked at the whole time, and I get it. And the internet is so dope. But things like this aren't really given to you. It's almost like they don't want you to know. Not professors, they're going to let you know. But it's almost like these other people in the industry don't want you to know.
I have another follow-up.
Follow up, go ahead.
So, one time I had to deal with BMI, and they made it really hard. So, to find any information, it was really, really hard. And I had to look up a song in their catalog, and something it came up. And then when you go to purchase the rights to that song, it didn't come up in the index. So, how, as an independent artist, are you going to deal with a big company like BMI or ASCAP when you might not have the money for lawyers?
The power behind it.
Right? Like they're a massive corporation.
I don't want to give.
I think it's just consistency. Like you really have to keep calling and keep, weeding through that because.
Well, but protection. I mean, if you're speaking
Because
protection,
even-
I copyright everything I do before I register on ASCAP. I'm still afraid that if I put a song on ASCAP, someone's gonna steal it. Like that's just always how I've been. My brother had a song out in like '98 that there was this rapper. His name was Montel Jordan.
What?
And listen, yes, singer, rapper, whatever he is. And this hook came on one day on the radio, and I'm like, Louis, that's your song. He stole that. It was on
Don't
the
tell me
radio.
this is how we do it.
No, it wasn't.
No,
Okay, all right.
There's a song I like.
I like the way you move.
Okay.
He had sent a demo to somebody
But I was
in
young.
California, and he was young,
I was young.
and there wasn't the right. So my point is, if you're in that now, I'm not sure how to backtrack lawyer-wise, but I know there are steps to protect yourself.
I copyright my music, but I'm just trying to if I have to work with a company like this, I want to make sure that I'm backed up and that I know how to deal with them so I don't get caught up.
So I'm in BMI. I'm a BMI member, but I was also an ASCAP member because I had a Sony publishing deal for a long time, and there was some legalities to that, and I had to actually write under a ghost name, which is they're not going to teach you should do that. But I was able to set up a publisher under ASCAP so that while I was going through my Sony stuff, I could still collect the money I needed to collect on the songs that I was placing. So ASCAP was more helpful than BMI was to me. Now I have better relationships.
Because I want to. Will you wait a minute after? Because
Yeah, we'll talk to you afterwards for sure.
I don't know how much time we have left, but I want to make sure
Like
that we
another
get that answer.
5, 10.
5:10. All right. Anybody?
This side, anybody yet?
Dylan.
Got ready?
This is for you. So, this I'm really interested in this stuff, and I'm glad you brought it up. But you mentioned doing voiceovers.
Yeah.
Could you kind of just describe how that works and how to?
How you get into it? So,
Yeah.
I know so many people, but I don't know people in voiceover. So for me, that was the hardest thing to figure out how. But it's not. I signed up for New York casting last year. It's to be an extra in movies or whatever, and I clicked on a thing for voiceovers, and basically on my GarageBand, there's a little fake monologue, they ask you to pick anything and just record a demo for them. And I recorded the demo, and then I just kept applying to the auditions. That's literally how I can start. If you have your own system, obviously it's so easy to record these days, it makes it better because you just are recording demos constantly. But the money for that is a lot. I mean, doing a 10-second commercial can be $600, so it isn't the easiest industry to get into, but if you're young and doing this now, look on Boston Casting, New York Casting, LA, wherever you're from, and that definitely is a start because voiceovers are where it's at more than ever now. You're welcome.
Tyler.
So you said that Keith wanted to give you a song so that you can sing it, kind of, right?
Keith, you're saying?
Yeah.
He didn't. My saying was if he had, then he could have registered to ask her for me. Keithan, I wish he was here to talk about this, but Keithan has production on her songs. He made it a point when he started playing bass for these bands to get into each session and work with them. So now he's on her newest EP, which just won a Grammy. And he's already signed. Yeah, he signed.
I think that's the best thing about going back to his point about creating your brand now. Once you're in school, creating that because I mean we've started off a lot of careers like Derek Cobbs, who's one of the biggest MDs in the business right now. Went to Berklee. Sean Alexander right now is on tour with Teddy Riley. All these cats that came through Berklee, whether they finished or they did a couple years here, they all played with us in Boston for X amount of years. Corin Henley, who produces for me right now, is down in Nashville. So they started creating their brand while they were in school. They were making really good money while they were in school, doing GB gigs and doing private gigs and things like that, in writing songs and producing. And I think the biggest thing we can leave you with today is create opportunities for yourself. Nobody's going to create an opportunity for you. Not one person in this room is going to create an opportunity for you. You have to do it yourself. And there are many opportunities to make money. I didn't go to school for music. I went to Northeastern for graphic design. So I went to school and I ended up teaching, and I ended up being a songwriter and traveling the world as a musician. So I had passion in music. I didn't go to school for music, so I had to create my brand just through experiences. And those experiences, I had to create those experiences by meeting people, networking, and creating opportunities. So you guys get a leg up as musicians. Now you got to take yourself to the next level by finding opportunities and making people want to work with you.
Got time for maybe 1, 2 more questions tops?
Yep. I was just wondering, is he gonna get like any type of like recognition for that, or would it be like your face, like your?
Oh, you're saying if he came to my show and played it, if it was his song?
If it was his song and he wanted you to sing it, like you'd be like the face of it,
But it would still be performed, so you could still register. Is that what you're asking? Like just on an ASCAP level, as long as it's being performed? That's a great question. He would get the money. Because like I can't register singing like a Drake song at a show and get credit for singing his song. I guess I can put it in that perspective.
Unless you recorded it for him and you were the artist on the record.
So yeah, he could absolutely, if he's giving me his material, get. That's a good question.
Angelina?
So my question is basically like, you guys have all experienced teaching in a public school setting and also writing for others, writing for yourself, being a performing artist. Like, I'm sure you wear multiple hats. You mentioned you have a kid. Like, how do you balance all of that stuff? Like, being a teacher in a public school setting or whatever, and also doing all those other things.
That's actually a great question. One thing we came here, the first thing we were like, what's a gem we could tell them? And I was like, please don't feel bad about having another job while being a musician. Like, do not feel bad about that. I was a full-time teacher, touring, taking time off from my job, using my sick hours, being a single mom. Like, it sounds outrageous, but I'm the type of person, and I'm sure a lot of you guys as creatives, like, if I'm not busy, I'm losing my mind. And I put my work into the teaching, and now I'm full-time music. And maybe it took longer for me, saying 8 or 10 years, but I was still making music money while I was teaching, and I loved it, and I miss it, and I'll go back to it later in life. But wearing multiple hats and multitasking, I think for me, especially you asking this question, if I had known what I do now, it would be a lot easier for me when I first started. If I had gone, I didn't go to Berklee either. My brother and I grew up, born in Jamaica Plain, raised in Hyde Park, and we looked at this place like it was the Dundada. Like, our dad's a musician, and we were like, how did we ever get there? Beautifully, the world came together, and we started having all these musicians play for us and with us that
I feel like we went to Berklee.
So we do feel like, but they got gems that we didn't get, and we're taking it all in, and that's why being here is so beautiful, because it can be done. You can do multiple jobs and be a musician. You can make a lot of money as a musician and still be an Uber driver on the weekend.
Just remember, there's no excuses why you can't make it. There's none. So as soon as you feel down, you're tired, you're working late nights at your job, and you got to record a session till 3 in the morning, you got to go to rehearsal during the show, nobody cares about your excuses. Like, you have to own your excuses, you have to hone your path. If you want this path, you have to take that path. And there's no excuses. It sounds kind of cruel. People used to say that to me. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm tired. And you know what? There's 5 other Louis Bellows out there that aren't tired. And they're getting one step ahead of me if I step back. So you just got to remember that. Follow that path, make it clear, and go after it.
Cool.
All right. One more round of applause, guys, for Lisa Louis Bellows. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, one thing that I did forget to mention when I was introducing them is that they're both Boston public school teachers, and that's, you know, for us, that's probably the most important thing. I mean, Louis, I've seen you teach, and he's a great, great teacher, and I think, you know, not only the gems you dropped today in terms of the business and everything, but the fact that you're giving back to your town and you're giving back to young people, you know, deserves yet another round of applause. So again, thank you. We really appreciate it, both of you. Okay, so we got one announcement from Casey. Come on up.
Thanks for playing networking bingo when you walked in. I know some people might not have gotten a chance to connect with one another. So if you already got bingo or you want to hang on to it for a week and keep connecting with one another, if you turn it in either today or at the start of next week, we'll do a little raffle to win a gift card. Which is a fun game, but like you heard up here, networking and creating your own opportunities is really what it's all about. And you guys are a community here from not only across the USA, but Canada, and for the first time, Ecuador, which we didn't say earlier. So, welcome. A few logistics, y'all. We are here in 5 weeks. It's a lot of fun, but it's also serious. Your attendance stays on your Berklee record. So if you are an underclassman, your attendance is going to be on there, and they're going to be able to see that record if you're applying to Berklee. If you're a senior, it still counts because you're still representing city music, and attendance goes into things that helps us get money to bring y'all back here year after year. So, if you need to miss a class, make sure it is excused. Do y'all know how to excuse a class? No. So, communication, yeah. Email your teachers as well as the 5-week office. So the 5-week office runs attendance, not me. So they're the ones that do the records. Their office is room 118, so just right upstairs in this building 150, room 118. It is your responsibility to make sure you have good attendance and are on top of your record. We'll be receiving reports, and I'll have to do follow-up meetings if there are absences. So let's just not make that happen. Because also you can get something out of this. Y'all, if you do well at 5 week, if you get A's and B's in your core classes, you can get college credit at Berklee. So whether you are coming here or not, it looks good at whatever college you're going to that you receive college credit from Berklee. Y'all are here because you're super talented. Make the most of it. So communication about attendance. If you don't know where to go on campus, come to me. Email citymusic@berklee.edu. I'll send you a follow-up with all of this info after this meeting. And now, a quick request from Miss Mia, who's an alum and was here last summer.
I just want to take a quick picture, y'all. That's all.
Selfie.
Y'all, she can sing. Hold on, don't let her fool you. Just do both. She can't sing, she can sing, baby.
Back. Oh, Louis want to get in. Louis, Lisa, come on in, get in. Let's get our guests in real quick.
Your work.
Get over there.
Okay, bro.
All right. Thank you. All right. So, guys, just hold tight. We got one small little surprise, a little impromptu thing. We're going to have, I'm sorry, actually, I'll be quiet and I'll let Omar talk.
Who here knows any Stevie Wonder?
Yeah.
Who knows Higher Ground? We got a ton of guitar amps. I don't know, is this cool? If we can get some more people, or at least a singer?
You gotta be quick.
Anybody know the song? Sing. Who's gonna sing? Andres, you don't want to play guitar with us? All right. Mike. Also, another thing. As we mentioned, we are 2/5 of the band. Jazz, rock, fusion, Pangea. I got a bunch of business cards here if anybody wants to grab some. The EP's up on Bandcamp, excuse me. Spotify, all that sort of stuff. Cool. There you go.
All right. Did you get your vocalist? Vocalist?
Keep on
just getting on the live stream, that's all.